game is such a fluid situation because things change so quickly. You have to be on your toes. Yeah. And that, again, speaks to how difficult it is to play this game at a basic level when things are constantly shifting. Maybe the play call that made sense 10 seconds ago is evolving right before your eyes. And IGLing, such a difficult job in this game. We've talked to Valiant about that in the past, just how much effort goes into game planning. And not only that, performing as an individual while you're carrying the team's decisions on your back.
Yeah, there's just so many options, so many opportunities, and you really need that experience, which sounds obvious to say because it's kind of the case in any game, any sport that you play, is having the experience to make the calls when you need to. But I feel like with PUBG, you almost just need to have some sort of gut reaction to it. You can't plan anything out. Very rarely will you find yourself in a scenario that is the exact same as one that you have experienced before, because not only can the circle go to multiple areas, you're also going to have 15 other teams that can be in different positions, different areas of strength. You just have to call it like you see it, go by the seat of your pants, and hope that it all works out in the end.
And sometimes sticking to those decisions, regardless of what the variables are. You know, you just got to pick your decision or pick your path and just commit to it. Absolutely. Circle's going to reveal itself, and in Miramar, we're headed all the way to the north. Well, not really the northwest, but west around Pozo. Space Station Gaming feeling good there. Sonic's also towards the center. A couple of nice terrain pieces that will be able to be used here for the Sonics if they want to use the hillsides. Now, we've been talking a little bit about snipers versus DMRs. Now, obviously, in the early game, Sharky trying to line something up nice and early on Aguila. He's transitioning in the vehicle. This would be quite the shot if Sharky can get it to land.
I'm just hoping for it to happen. You know how much I love bolt-action rifles. The 2X can make it a little difficult. You don't have a lot of experience with that scope on a bolt-action compared to like a 6X or an 8X. In fact, you could even see Sharky adjusting how far he was wanting to lead on it just because the muscle memory may not be there. I say that as someone who is not very good at this game from my own personal experience, so who knows? Maybe I'm insulting him by assuming that these guys aren't just like the very best at this game.
You know what? The 2x scope is one of those few that, you know, obviously you don't want to use that later into the game if you're using it on your long range option. But some of the nuttiest shots I've hit personally have always been with like the lower power scopes, like a red dot, even the iron sights and the 2x scope, especially when it first came out, early days. You know, it was one of those things where when you do hit a nice shot with a 2x scope, it just makes it that much nicer.
That's true. Are you talking like in the early days with the 2X was you were looking down a like a
dark tunnel,
a dark tunnel, a toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I hated that scope then. I'm still not a big fan now.
A lot of improvements to the optics over the last last year or so to PUBG and so many other components of the game as well. United, they had a good last game. They did a lot of battling on the eastern side. It'll be no different here. They find themselves essentially surrounded by Tempo Storm, Envy, and Ghost as all teams on the southeastern side are outside the zone. And they'll be transitioning likely, man, this is going to be difficult for them, either all the way north if you're Tempo Storm, likely, to try and get away from the pressure that will be building on that eastern side.
Yeah, just it's looking very tricky around this area. Envy are currently in Los Leones, but they have a lot of opposition immediately surrounding them. Player 1 to the south, the United to the east, and then Tempo Storm just past that. Pride is already moving out north, while the rest of his squad, you can see on the minimap on your screen, are going to be looting the rest of the city. And so hopefully Pride can give the information for his squad to have a good path inside. But if you're not already inside this circle, it's going to look, the rotations here are a little rough. But Pistola time, trying to go aggressive onto Zenith. Patron taking a little bit of damage, but he's able to break line of sight and pull away.
Hitting those shots in the buggy can be difficult sometimes, especially from behind. Pistola, and Wildcard Adam at the driver's helm. He's taking it uphill, driving in Miramar. Always such a pleasure as
Push.
Just trying their best to get up the hill. This is actually on the northern side of center in the first zone. And it looks like Zenith will be trying to prevent Wildcard from getting too far up the hill. Pistola already having to protect the vehicle. That's coming from the other half of, or the other third, the remainder. Math is not my strong suit, Chad. I'm a caster for a reason, all right?
Come on, public school.
It's Canadian public school. All we learned about is maple syrup.
Yeah. You can, that's the unit of measurement that you're able to do good math in.
Do good math in. I guess you went to English class.
Yes.
Wildcard still in their vehicles, trying to move about. Sonics, they've got a nice spot. I was wondering if they're going to use this hilltop just to the south of where Zenith is, and indeed they will be. As this first circle, not too much action, no pressure mounting just yet. So much space, especially on the northwestern side, but this hilltop with Wildcard, Zenith, as well as SSG around that crater field area. Or just the craters.
So we saw this part of the map specifically a lot on a Miramar game yesterday that the Rumblers won. And you can see there's a lot of high ground on this particular area, which is why you see all these squads kind of trying to fight for position on the high ground above it. Roth, though, and the rest of Zenith are arriving on this compound that actually it's currently being overlooked by Space Station Gaming. These guys coming in from El Pozo, we've seen this hold in a circle like this before. And let's see if that high ground can maybe punish Zenith a little bit. But Tempo Storm, a team outside of the circle, are doing what you expected, Moses, rotating up north, it seems, rather than going directly inside.
It makes sense. I mean, coming in on the southeast, you have to deal with the Picado Hills.
Yeah.
Not to mention transitioning through where you'll probably have a checkpoint around Monte Nuevo. So Tempo Storm knows they got to go north. Low-Key's already made their way north. Envy, I think they're going to try and come in on the edge of the circle on the southern side. J-Sank has spotted a very open, very exposed Patron, and he's going to make it into cover. He's got not a ton of first aid kits, but he's going to have to burn one of them. Meds and gear are going to be a question mark here for Zenith, having been in transition and moving around so much early.
J-Sank still peeking around on Zenith, trying to see if we can catch anyone who's already inside of the compound. Some shots off the distance as well. It looks like, who is that? Sonic's maybe trying to get involved. That's a very long range. Early games of Miramar early in the round aren't the easiest to find those engagements. It's all about positioning yourself for the mid game, for the late game, as everyone just tries to cut a piece of the pie for themselves, hopefully with as much high ground as possible, with the space to protect your vehicles, all the good stuff. Ooh, couple of shots back on a J-Sync though, could give him pause. But no, Patron's still out in the open. He's still trying to find his way back home.
From pineapple to pineapple, he's trying to get his way anywhere out of the line of sight of SSG. Maybe looking to put some shots back, but his armor and his meds have taken a beating, as has his body, as he tries to make his way to the compound that Zenith has decided to hold down. Wildcard, they're still moving around. Our featured team here. Wildcard having a good second place finish in the last game. Did wind up dropping all the way down to third place on points. Ghost did take, I believe, second place with the kill points in their favor. Yeah. And for Ghost Gaming, they're holding a 2-2 split. This first circle, I mean, with no water Cameron on the map, the ratios and where the circle decides to go is really random. And every team is just hoping the center is going to be safe, as the density in the center of the zone with teams like Tempo Storm, United, and Player One Esports still trying to make their way into this first circle.
J-Sync here, he did pull back from the Zenith hold a little bit. I say that, he actually going to go back and check on those guys, make sure that they're still standing still. OSHG and the Rumblers, though, able to find their way inside the circle. They weren't too far themselves. But Tempo Storm, they still have to crawl in. You can see the blue just sneaking in on their eastern side. But they all have vehicles, and the access point should be relatively open, as it generally is on Miramar. The only question is, how are they going to be able to get over these sort of bumps and ridges and hills and mountains easily enough to get inside? Okay, Pistola and Pentalos.
Miramar driving.
Yep, not the best start to their round, but should be able to pick up easily.
Normally, if we had something else going on, I wouldn't bring this up. But Sharky, he was a little bit exposed here by Zampa in the early days, or the early stage of today before the game started. We were informed that Sharky went out and found himself a nice pair of designer sneakers.
Ooh.
And
what does he got?
I don't know what they're called. They look like either a mixture between moon boots and snowshoes. But the price paid was...
It's all about the price point in fashion
indeed.
Nowadays.
Yeah, I wouldn't be wearing the equivalent of a used Honda Civic on my feet, but then again, I have no sense of style, so what can I say?
All right, so the second circle has popped and it's gone towards the northeast. Still not the exact same position, but relatively close to what we saw on Rumblers' win yesterday. But the Rumblers themselves are far out of the circle, and Envy still have to push in themselves. Genesis in front of them. We also saw some very early engagements in this part of the map yesterday, just because getting to the high ground can be quite difficult. And Envy, they're going to stop inside the circle at least momentarily. Perhaps as a pit stop? No, it's just a little bump in the road with the shack in their way. But Roth and the rest of Zenith coming across the Sonics, a race for this position. A lot of downs in the kill feed.
It looks like the vehicles are doing a lot of the work right now. Walt Jr. down, and Roth is going to be holding the angle as the Sonics have intermingled with Zenith, and Tony V is going to go down. Nice hold paying off there for Roth. Patron coming across. Keenan on the high side defense. He's going to try and protect Tony, but there's just no help coming, and there's pressure coming from the other high side ridges. And this is the issue with Miramar. It doesn't matter if you're elevated, you can't do anything about it at just like that. Wildcard, unfortunately, struggling with their vehicles, and Lazarus, as they are wiped out nice and early. All the kills, all the points going to Lazarus.
Ooh, yeah, well, one of the kills I think went towards Wildcard with the vehicle down, but you know, you get your help where you can get it, and it's a strong position for Lazarus right now. Envy, though, it's not too strong themselves. Stopping their vehicle momentarily. They're really close to Genesis. I wonder if this engagement is going to pop off or not, but they're both so close to the edge. I can understand if they just want to retreat and go away, but Nerf has the sight line, trying to go aggressive, trying to land the shots. Does force Interrogate out of the vehicle as Tozy's showing a little bit. But he's going to sneak them away, and actually some shots coming in from another angle. I believe that's endemic.
Toesies are the medical term in this situation, as Interrogate's going to come back with a mini. Oh,
good shots.
Profi in the open, immediately punished by Interrogate. And that is going to be 1 point going to Envy. I was wondering if Envy had an idea where Genesis was, and that's another early player loss for Genesis. They did recoup last game and win, but they're going to back off this fight. They don't have the manpower. And Profi, while talented, sometimes gets caught a little bit out of position. In that case, not a lot of cover to work with. He has the aim, and it bails him out so often. But that was just a janky fight to begin with, so no love lost there between these two squads.
Yeah, this is just not a position on the map that you want to commit to taking away. And so Genesis, already losing one player, going to want to back off, and they're still not in a super strong position. They're on the low ground, and they have to cross a road to get anywhere close to a high ground position. They're kind of sandwiched between multiple squads, but Envy, luckily enough for Genesis, are backing away, but EU United are here just on the edge of the map, looking for a position, looking for an opportunity to punish Envy's rotation through. I don't think Envy know that EU United are there, and so if they can get a shot, if they can get a knock, this could turn into something big for EU United.
Sharu can see the movement just barely of between the vehicle windows, and waiting for someone to jump in the passenger side. Oh, doesn't have the window, but does let out a very important shot. Now Envy knows there's someone to their south, and they're already in movement, just making their way a little bit closer towards Power Grid, but they're going to turn their attention now back towards where United is. They've got a dip to work with, but I don't think they're going to want to stick here too long, as they're making their way to the brick house around Power Grid, I believe. Going to try and hide their vehicles. A couple of shots landing. But Lazarus feeling good right now. We'll see what the circle does. And it's going to go towards Space Station Gaming. Lazarus doesn't have to move too far, but I'm not sure if they're going to want to move here at all. That southeastern side, they're going to have some good vision here, Cam.
They will. The problem is that they are on the low ground. They are in a little bit of a valley, so I can understand if they want to try and get a little bit of high ground. And even though Space Station, they're in a really good position, you can already see them moving around just because it's quite ambitious of a hold. If they wanted to hold that entire hillside, they may want to close up just a little bit. But Tempo Storm are arriving, and they spot a rotating low-key player, landing a nice headshot to open that up. But no more shots are hitting, letting out some really quick fire, but they're taking some shots from the rest of low-key.
I think there was two on that vehicle as well, so they almost got the down. I think Fignaldo in the driver's seat, but low-key will make their way up to the crater wall on the eastern side. And now it's going to be medding and waiting. Low-key has not been having a good time. They're struggling to get kills, and because of that, they're really struggling to get points. In this situation, I think they've got less than 10 kills so far, but Low-key can turn it around. They've done it in the past, and the days are still early. Lazarus now hoping tempo comes their way. They're in rotation. They're on the move, as is everyone else if you're not inside the zone.
Easy holding his trigger. Recognizes that that would be a difficult down
nice
to get.
Convoy.
Yeah, and Endemic, they're just wrapping around, trying to avoid any and all engagement at this time. Try and rotate around the emptier side of the circle, looking at the way that this circle has shifted. And they are going to have some open space, but it's on the low ground. But Keenan spotting another player on the low ground. It's still Zenith in a lot of trouble, have yet to find a good, solid position that doesn't have any pressure on it. Can't land too many shots. It's quite long range.
The damage fall off as well. Yeah, the damage fall off will make it pretty difficult. That's almost 6 or 7 shots you're going to need to hit there at that distance. Depending on the armor, of course. Reloading that SKS. but already Zenith has avoided any damage. Nerf will go down. K-Mind actually in return is going to help out Nerf, and with that mini is going to try and defend his down teammate. He took both those players very low, and he's going to go straight at it. Yeah, K-Mind, obviously high off his previous game performance, is going to crash down, and in H-Win going to be left to try and get the res, and K-Mind is pressing W. He's got all the designs on getting all the kills, but it's a 4-man E-United squad as the res does get executed, and now K-Mind all by himself.
I love this aggressive maneuver by K-Mind, driving up a hill, especially in a Murado.
Into the blue,
would have
though,
been
Cam.
very, very difficult. Yes, but he's able to stop E-United's push, allows the revive to come out for the rest of this team, and hopefully get a couple of kills. And Genesis are not the Genesis that we know if they don't go aggressive. This is how they've been successful in the past. Spots an open player, gets a nice spray down onto Taylor J.
Almost too much body left open in there for Taylor J. He wanted to get the bicep show out in there, and well viewed as Stab now forced down to res to med as well. And I think K-Mind is doing his duty. He's got one down. He's really putting a thorn into United's side, but now the circle shifts and further away. And Lazarus has got to be feeling real good about that, as does Tempo.
Yeah, this is actually now a really strong position for Lazarus. K-Mind trying to lead, but Shuru able to get up on the high side of the hill, trying to punish Genesis. Balefrost does drop K-Mind.
And down to the zone. I mean, I think K-Mind was lost as soon as he made that push, but he did his job. Couple of points going to Genesis, and that is a hero move. Oh, Bale goes down and does not get no points for Genesis, as he did get knocked by the zone as well. And now Genesis, only one kill. It did go to K-Mind, and this is not feeling good for this team coming off a win.
H-Win forced to throw out a smoke. Riot Squad had the angle on them as well, and the two remaining players for Genesis are in a really tricky position because they are so far away from the circle at this point in time. Nerf trying to spot out anything, spotting if E-United go aggressive on them. But it looks like they're making the call. They're recognizing that E-United are wrapping away, and so their eyes are now set onto Riot Squad, but without any vehicles, where can Genesis go?
United, the remnants moving right through Sonics, and Stab in the lead vehicle instantly deleted by Tiggleton, and now Shrew is going to make the same path. I don't think United is long for this world. Shrew on the motorcycle headed towards Zenith. McCoy, they're distracted by the vehicles. McCoy whiffing, unfortunate, can't hit the mini shots, no damage to Zenith, and there goes Shrew. Shrimsy will pick him up with the headshot on the move. And Shrimsy showing what they got. McCoy, oh no, spotted by, I think, maybe Genesis?
Yeah, the Genesis able to find a small path, a small little opening through the tops of that mountain.
Maybe Riot Squad? I can't tell who's shooting them.
That's Riot Squad also coming on the north side, and so without any vehicle, Genesis are still in a rough position. With that knock on McCoy, maybe they could have found a better opening, but...
I don't think it was Genesis. I think they were behind the mountain. I don't know who that was, but either way, McCoy survives, and Zenith continues to get picked apart. Now it's low-key getting in on the action.
H-Win, SLR at the ready, now pulling out the M4, spots the vehicle of Riot Squad. Will he know that there's a lone player remaining? He should be hearing the other vehicle from Protege sweeping around as well. But
Genesis
they still
wants
need to
kills. They want kills here.
It's all they can get right now. Getting into the circle is going to be incredibly difficult, so they got to find the points while they can.
Come on, win. There we go. Got him down, but traded. Protege will get him down, and the flush. Now only Nerf. And maybe he can get the finish onto Leda. No, he's out of view. And Genesis just not having a good round this time around.
Able to pick up points here and there, but you can't always win them. Pride now on Envy. Able to come in on the southeast side, wrapping around Lazarus, trying to punish Ghost even further. Ghost, it looked like a good position at the start, but not a lot of cover. They're having to use their vehicles, and that only limits their I guess, line of sight so much.
Kind of an ammo dump here for Envy. Not a lot of easy pickings that far away. Nerf will get finished off. 14th place for Genesis coming off their previous round win. And just picking away at the armor, the helmets, and whatever else they can land here for Envy. As Ghost is getting withered, as looks like Sonics. They've used that opportunity to move up behind Ghost, and it looks like it's going to be Tony V, maybe Tiggleton. Here come the grenades. They're all in the shack. They're in trouble. Keenan gets one down. Vegas, they have nowhere to move. This is going to be very rough for Ghost. They're going to have to fight their way out of this one, Cam.
They are completely surrounded as well. Look at how far wrapped around Wooly, Keenan. Now Tiggleton, up close and personal, rushing into the shack, drops two of them.
Shrimsy will flush. And where's the support? Keenan is down as well. And Wooly's the only man left standing. Tiggleton put it all on the line. Wooly's taking damage. And there he goes. Shrimsy saves the day for Ghost Gaming.
With 3 kills, and he's got 3 revives ahead of them, or rather 2, because Vegas did get finished by Tiggleton's push. But that's still Ghost with 3 up. This is not what I expected off the back of that Sonic's push. But Riot Squad there helping Ghost out, saving their necks. But where can Ghost go now? We already saw the line of sight from Envy. Luckily, the circle does keep Envy out of the next circle, so that may force Envy to look into another direction. But nonetheless, Ghost, I can't imagine how bad their meds are at this point in time.
Well, they're going to have some bodies to pick through, but it's not going to be easy to get out to them as I think it was Riot Squad and Zenith helping take down Sonics on their push. I like the intensity. The execution was just a hair short as Tempo Storm continues to fire away, and the hills around the crater have been completely alive so far. Rumblers and Player One Esports, they've got to make their way into the zone, and they're all tangled up together.
That's going to be Los taken down. That's not the player you want to see removed from the Rumblers roster.
Lazarus quietly having a very strong game in their compound.
Well, Pride's here alone. We've seen Pride 1v4 squads before. That's a nade. Not quite close enough, but Lazarus going aggressive. And if there's anything that Lazarus still excel at, it's combined squad team fights. And they're going to be able to remove Pride and the rest of Envy from the server. 10 teams still remaining. Tempo Storm still trying to climb in, but look at the push by Player One.
Oh, up on top. They're giving them all headshots, though. That's a real tough peek. You could slip off those rocks very easily, and that's a free kill. And it's going to be Vanquish actually picking up Lampalot from distance. And now D-Treat's thinking, well, I guess I'm up here. I might as well try and make something out of this. Maybe a grenade? I guess he must not have any.
He's waiting for Aguila, but you can see the shots from Vanquish and Tempo Storm onto D-Treat's position. And so it's not a super comfortable attack. This is actually going to help the Rumblers a little bit. They already knew that Player One's push was coming.
There's no nade, so there's one.
There's
Finally,
one.
they did get one in there, I think. Oh, it was a smoke grenade, maybe trying to force the movement. Aguila prone. I think there was some damage done, but the Rumblers seem to have the upper hand. Not for long, though. Aguila will get those 2 kills, but the zone's on him, and it is chunking. And here comes Tempo. They want to clean up the remnants, but I think Aguila's not going to be able to make it out of the blue.
Yeah, it was not a clean fight for them at all. Only getting 2 points, and now
it will be Tempo.
The remaining player from Player One. It's going to be an easy spray down for Sharpshot, or at least can he get it? Should be able to find it. There we go.
Careful.
Second time's the charm.
You still got to respect the opponent there. And this has just been one cascading fight after another. Now it's going to be SSG taking it to Tempo. Or Vanquish, I should say.
Standard hold now for SSG. 5 kills, still 4 up. It's what I expected from that position, but they now finally have to move into the circle. It pulls towards the southeast. And even though I was worried about Lazarus' position, they're still inside. But Tempo Storm trying to go active, trying to help Vanquish and SSG.
This is, I think, just judging by the terrain and how many people are on the northern side, this looks like Lazarus' game to lose at this stage. They've got compound, they've got circle, it's a downhill run towards them, and they've got great vision, not to mention all the pressure on the northern side. Actually, it's Riot Squad and Zenith now finally getting into it. Ghost on the move as well.
Tempo Storm, you can see they want to go aggressive, but they're also worried about getting shot from multiple angles. You can see the smokes dropped by Zampa to try and have a path around. They don't want to run into Lazarus' line of sight, as you just pointed out, being super strong.
Just a bit of a waiting game now. The circle is going to force everyone to move shortly. SSG has not made headway in making their way to the zone. There's just nowhere to run just yet. They're worried about, I imagine, picking up as many kills as they can, headed both south and towards where Tempo is. Low key is holding them out, but this is going to be a total cluster. Here comes Ghost. Wide open spray. Nice shot from Shrimsy. And now they got Riot Squad on the ropes trying to finish that off. No one's stealing that kill. Shrimsy locks it down.
Yes, but they can't push over and finish off Riot Squad. They're still laid left because of the high ground from SSG. And then Zenith is still in that check as well. And so Ghost, they're in a position to get a couple of kills, but it's still not a strong position for them to steal away. SSG have a huge advantage over this entire engagement, no matter who wins it out. But this is good for SSG. They want to clear out this area so they can take it themselves, because they still need to find a way into the circle. They don't want to have to push into Loki's area, but Shrimsy on Ghost is pulling away, but look at the line of sight from Lazarus. It's way out in the open.
They have to use this little roadway. That's, I think, why Space Station wanted to come south. Coming south from the northern side is much more difficult than rotating the way they have, and now Ghost is going to have to make the headway as they get the zone, but they don't have a lot to work with. Very prime nade position behind this little truck, but it's cover, so maybe SSG gets picked apart by Lazarus as well, Cam, but this is not going to be easy. They do have the buffer of Zenith and Riot Squad, who have still not decided who's going to move forward in this game.
Finna, the last remaining player from Vanquish, running up. Tempo Storm at his back. He doesn't know where he needs to go. And I don't know where you even can go in this position. It's basically who are you going to give your kill away to. Nades immediately come out. They know his position's here. They heard the shots, and that gave them the information. Finna falls to the floor.
Wow. Firing squad. Firing squad there for Finna. As J-Sank now firing down onto the last two members of Zenith who have held onto their little shack for dear life. And low-key, having come out of the rocks, are now feeling Tempo's pressure as well. There goes Zenith, and now we are down to 5.
SSG able to make their way into the circle, but having to drop the smokes because the cover on the slope down the hill is not very strong. You can see Ghost and I believe Lazarus as well sending shots their direction. SSG need to start hitting those headshots to force a way inside, because neither are in the next circle.
I felt pretty good about Lazarus, but I think there should be some terrain for Tempo to use on their high side. And it already looks like Lazarus is veering off the compound. They're going to send Purdy on the right side towards the east. Meanwhile, Ghost dealing with J-Sank and SSG. And they've got a nice little shot here. If Shrimsy can continue to land the shots, he's got all 4 kills for Ghost here, Cam.
Smokes out from SSG, and Shrimsy has an opportunity to get even more. He already got a knock onto one player. Look at the smoke cover though, but that's definitely limited. I can only imagine that they have so many smokes, but Chubba Bubba from low-key about to put some pressure back onto Tempo Storm. They do have the high ground, and you're right about the cover being there for Tempo Storm against Lazarus, but that can only limit them so much. Low-key, they have an opportunity to fight their way in, but look at Valiate's push from SSG.
We've seen this often from Valiate. He's going to get right up in the grill. Oh! He got shot in the back.
Too close.
He's got a med. He's got a med. Low-key doesn't know that Valiate is there. He's got no idea. He could be massive. Valiate going for the med first. He's been spotted. He gets one down. Quickly traded. I like the idea. The execution just not there. Valiate tries those plays so often. Sometimes it pays off. But SSG now left with only 2 left standing. And now Ghost is being picked apart in the open. Last stand for McCoy. Ghost goes down 5th place. Good effort there from them. Tempo now picking up 7 kills.
Look at that from Lazarus. They know that this is the time to take a push away from that compound, and they send 2 to try and take a little bit of control of the high side. But Tempo Storm now in a position to try and get rid of the rest of Loki as well as SSG. Baja gets the spray down onto Pax. Headshore is going to be the one to finish it, and I believe it is just Lobes left. Still top 4 position, but looking to look for more.
Baja stepping up. He's getting pressure from Lazarus. Might have to hit a quick prone and a med, but the zone is there. They're not inside. They're looking for more kills. This will be 10. Oh, that's smoking motorcycle play. Oh, baby. Lobes is going to step up. He doesn't have the time and space, but that's quick work. And they're going to share between Sharky and Purdy Curdy, and there goes Lobes. Lazarus has got to be picking up tons of kills now. Yes, they're at 10. They're looking at Tempo. 1 shot. Another lands. And now it's going to be Lazarus and Tempo, 4v4, wide in the open.
The initial position right now is going in Tempo Storm's favor.
Yep.
But when it centers up in stage 9, let's listen in to see what they have to say.
I'm trying to shoot at this compound guy, yeah, so we can get a knock.
Yo, land behind the car.
Dampa, tell him this compound guy on the half wall. He's on the half wall, 155. Smoking, so I can. There's 2 in that.
There's one guy on my mark on green. Yeah, we know. I'm holding those guys. There's 2 of them. I'll make sure they don't make their play. I can make sure the left guys don't push.
There's 2 guys in the compound, bro.
Yeah, you're killing them both
with
your guns.
Let's go.
Shoot them with your guns. That's the IGL of Tempo right
there. See you guys. He can one-way you guys.
They're trying to smoke line in.
Tell me when they start smoking. I can start spamming. They started smoking. Oh, tell me when they're in the smoke.
I will.
I have like no 5-5 by the way.
I have no 7-6.
Won't matter.
They're gonna have to vault the wall. They're gonna have to vault the wall.
They're vaulting now. Left side.
I'm nading towards them. Nice.
The one's on the wall.
He's going right.
I can't see him.
On the half wall. He's on the half wall.
I see him. He's gonna peek me. I'm waiting. He's vaulting soon. One's underneath me. One very close underneath me. Okay. He docked his own. 4v1 this guy. He's very lit. Underneath me.
I threw nade. One nade towards him.
Push to his Zampa.
I am.
Zampa.
Nice.
Last guy's 105. Over that ridge.
Hit him once. He's hit. He's gonna go. He's gonna kill.
Wow.
Cancel the kill.
Yeah, we should push.
No, he's not. Don't.
Chill.
Everyone wait, please.
Okay, it's okay. Relax.
We don't need to throw. He can die to blue if he wants to. It's 1 kill. We're gonna win the fucking league. It's easy.
What
I'm looking
confidence.
for him. He's in a dead
What
tree.
confidence.
Well
He was on the ridge right behind.
Wow. Tempo Storm
Good
says
shit,
it
bro. Good
themselves. They call the victory and make easy work of Lazarus, who had such strong position for so long. And what a victory, a classic victory.